We'll talk about the ArcGIS and GraniteNet integration that we did for the City of Pekin, Illinois. Pekin is a city of about 32,000 in the 400,000 metro area, Peoria, Pekin in central Illinois. We for this we primarily work with the Public Works Department, which has an engineering and streets and sewer division. They have 116 miles of sanitary sewer, 74 miles of storm sewer, and 35 miles of combination sewer. So the GIS architecture for the City of Pekin, they have ArcGIS Enterprise on a few different servers here. They also have a portal set up along with ArcGIS Online. So GraniteNet is a software platform for the management and analysis of sewer and water systems. And Pekin has worked with the Q's company to implement this software. They had a previous version of the software, and then it was dormant for a while. And then a few years ago, CloudPoint assisted the City of Pekin to get GraniteNet going again. And what the city does with GraniteNet, what it allows them to do is to collect data, to do inspections. It offers reporting and visualization as well. And it also integrates with some other systems and tools, including Esri's ArcGIS. Some other systems might be CityWorks or Lucidity. So this is a diagram of a typical GraniteNet and GIS workflow. So there is a GraniteNet database that is set up on an office computer. There's also your GIS servers, and then you have a GraniteNet database set up in the camera truck for the sewer inspections. So a typical workflow might be that the street department will go out in their camera truck and collect the video inspection. That data is then passed to the GraniteNet office computer, and then that data is sent back to the GIS server, the GIS architecture. Excuse me. And then that data can be reviewed. Data is then passed back to the GraniteNet office computer, and then it goes back to the camera truck. So this is run with a scheduler option, and it's completed on a daily basis. Okay, so I'm going to go into a demonstration now. So I don't have a direct connection to that office computer at the street department. So I have a video here to demonstrate the software. And we did have some sound issues with the video, so we will describe what's going on here as we go. So they are at version 5.7.2. It's registered to the City of Pekin. And the mapping API that is used is the Esri ArcGIS Runtime SDK for .NET. Okay, so now take a look at a few more settings. In our default connection, it shows us our database, SQL Server connection, and our credentials there. We'll do a test, and it succeeded to that database. Now we'll look at the ArcGIS module. Again, we show that we are using the ArcGIS Runtime map view. For our portal connection, so you can either choose ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise here. We have set this up with Portal, and we enter in our URL for the portal along with an app ID. All right. Now we are going to look at some database connections and inspection profiles. Under File, we go to Connect to Database, and it shows we are currently connected to the GNet Office database. There's also an option here in the Office to connect to the truck database. Again, we'll connect with our login credentials. Also down here in GraniteNet, there's a status bar that displays various items, including the currently connected database and username. Up at the top, there's also some inspection profiles and domains. So now we'll move on from some of this peripheral GraniteNet information and get into some of the primary components of GraniteNet. The first component here is the import from ArcGIS interface. Here are some of the parameters for the component. They're saved in the import export profile. So listed here, we have the different feature classes that are involved for the sewer data. And it shows what our URLs are to the city's portal connection for these feature services. An important task in the setup of the import and export is the feature class mapping. This matches attributes from the city's feature classes with attributes from GraniteNet, if applicable. On the left here, we have some GraniteNet classes that are set up. The asset ID from the city's data is set as the readable ID or the unique ID. In many cases, this is used in naming conventions for the inspection task. For the fields mapping, the left column shows the city's schema, and the adjacent column shows the GraniteNet field that it's matched to. So we have a few fields here that match up between the GIS data and the GraniteNet schema. Also if the field is a number field type, then a unit of measurement must be established. Okay, so next we'll take a look at the setup for the export to ArcGIS, which of course is very similar to the import. It uses the same feature layers, same URL paths, and the similar feature class mapping through that link. Okay, so we'll cancel that and we'll go into the next major component, which is the GraniteNet scheduler. This executes these tasks in the proper order, and this is done after the typical working hours once the truck has arrived back in the garage and is plugged into the network. So these tasks are importing inspections from the truck to the office. So that goes from the GraniteNet truck database to the office database. Export to GIS, it takes that data from the office database and exports it to ArcGIS Enterprise via the feature services. And then there's the import from GIS, takes it back from the ArcGIS Enterprise environment to the office database, and then finally exporting it from the office back to the truck. So there's a task name, there's a scheduler. The scheduler displays the type of task, the schedule, the next runtime, the status, the last runtime, and the last result. You may notice that it shows right now an error message. And this can happen if there's a major error. which I'll discuss some of those later on. But it also could happen where there's just some slight differences between the database schema, but it does run successfully between the database. If it runs from the data from the office to the truck or truck to office or getting it into the ArcGIS Enterprise, it does run successfully with some minor errors. So what I'm going to do here is we'll take one of these tasks. We'll go with the export to GIS. And we'll click edit and we'll go into the settings for that task. Okay, in the name and schedule section, you can see you can set what time it's going to start, the recurrence. These are the different parameters you can set. It also shows the last task run status, and you have an option to view a log file. With the export to ArcGIS settings, here you have your source and export parameters that are configured. As we view some of the different layers here. And then finally, in the notification settings, this is where you can, it's not configured yet for Pekin, but this is where you can set up to send a log file to a department head or to someone in the GIS department. Some of the other options we have here in the GraniteNet scheduler are to view the history. This takes you to the latest log file, and there's a lot of information here listed. Status of each feature asset that's been exported, whether it's been successfully updated or completed with errors. And it shows a complete how many items were exported and different information. You can search for errors within this text. We'll move on now. We'll exit our scheduler and move on to the next section, next component, which is the navigator pane. The task section displays the tasks, whether they are completed or incomplete. And you can view what's been done in the last week, last week, this month, last month, etc. So we'll go in there. We'll look at a few from last month. And you can see here, it shows the asset ID and also the date and time that these inspections were done. So I'm going to select an inspection from this list. We will right click and zoom the map to the selection. So now our map pane displays the selected asset, which is combo main 101178. So we're going to open our layers here in the map pane, and we can see the different layers that we had looked at in the import and export interfaces. They're now showing in the map. And one thing you can kind of tell that this map pane resembles the old relic ArcMap, and we'll talk a little bit about that later as well. This map file is saved locally as a .gnmp, which is a GraniteNet's map file format. So we'll go through the toolbar here a little bit. And with the Add Data button, you can add data. You can change the base map, first of all, or you can add data from online sources, different web services. You can also add offline data from various formats. And you can also add dynamic GraniteNet layers, which are sourced by data from the inspections. Okay, so next we will take a look at some of the layer settings in the map pane. You can select a layer and then go to the configure option. And this will help you configure map layer properties. Okay, so first section, display settings. You can choose your scale dependencies here, transparency or display field name. And then the next section is for labeling. You can set the label field, font size, other display parameters. And then your GraniteNet section offers some redundant information about the connection between the GIS data and the GraniteNet schema. Okay, so now we'll go back to our navigator pane and um, some of the additional tabs here. You have projects, tasks, main lines, laterals. I'll get that combo main selected there. But so you have your projects, tasks, main lines. Main lines list every asset by their ID. Laterals, same thing. Nodes, it has the different node options, and then the organization itself. So what we'll do here is we'll go back and choose our combo main that we had previously selected. And we'll choose our video playback option. But before we go there, we need to discuss video capture. So imagine we are back in the camera truck and we have GraniteNet Advanced open and we have the option there to capture the video, record the CCTV inspection for that selected asset. So that's that workflow. You're on site at the job site. You collect the video, do the video capture. That data then goes from the truck to the office, and then via the scheduler, that data gets to the ArcGIS Enterprise, and then that workflow continues. Okay, so in the video playback pane, we will start playing the video. You see some of the different information that comes up that's displayed, the start time and direction of travel and things like that. So with our video playback, another component of GraniteNet that works well with video playback is the inspection observation list. These are observations recorded by the operator during the inspection process. Clicking on an item will advance the video to that observation. The first few of these observations will show a capped pipe, and then we eventually will get to one where we'll have a live connection. And it lists our distance. It shows the clock, what it is, the description, and then what the observation is. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to go back to our selected asset on the map. And the next component to discuss is the inspection pane. Here, information is presented for the asset, including the upstream and downstream nodes. In our next section, attributes for the surface, type, pipe shape, pipe material, and pipe size are collected. And you may notice that it shows other for pipe material. And as you may remember from that video playback, it was definitely brick. This was kind of a discrepancy right now between GraniteNet schema and the city's schema that will need to be rectified in the future. In this office environment, the operator or the user can save and undo edits, and they can accept or reject the inspection. Okay, so next we'll go back to our navigator pane and we will select another asset. This time it will be a storm main. As we scroll through here. we're going to take a look at storm main 301840 and right click, zoom the map to that asset. And again, I want to show the video playback here. So we will start the video and let it run here for a few seconds. The operator will move the video, tilt and pan the camera. And then as we pause the video, we're going to go back to that inspection observation list. Click on the first entry and it advances the video and it shows where we have a crack in the pipe. The code descriptions, crack in the pipe. Here's another one as well. So you can see how you can utilize the video capture of the inspection to take those observations. So I hope with this video that I've shown how these different components of GraniteNet, the video playback and capture, the map, the inspection information can all come together to do a complete pipe inspection, and how GIS is integrated into this process via the scheduler and the import and export profiles. Okay. With time dwindling here, I'm going to advance. I'm going to just talk about the GraniteNet viewer. I did have a quick demo of the viewer. It shows a few different things, the reporting options, as well as a diagram showing the pipe inspection and visualizing what we just saw with some of these inspections and where those inspections occur. Okay, so going into our issues and questions, some of the issues that occurred during this process, the implementation process and getting that off the ground. One of the main ones was a consistent connection to the camera truck. So this would be where the operator failed to plug into the network after they had returned to the garage. So this happened quite often, caused many errors until we finally were able to establish what needed to be done with once the truck was returned, needed to be plugged into the network. And then that allowed the process, the data to flow to the different databases and eventually into ArcGIS Enterprise. Some other ones, the scheduler window stopped running. There were differences in the data schema, which we rectified many of those, but there are still some that remain. The map module dropped the layer connections, and then also some file space issues need to be cleared up on the GIS side for where the GraniteNet media was stored. A couple of questions that came up. So what's the compatibility with ArcGIS Enterprise 11? And the answer there is that there's a version of Enterprise or a version of GraniteNet, it's 5.9, that will be compatible with ArcGIS Enterprise up to 11.1. So currently the city will need to upgrade from 5.7 to 5.9. Another question that came up is upgrading ArcMap, upgrading the map pane from the ArcMap style to ArcGIS Pro. And actually ArcGIS Pro compatibility has been available for a few versions. And what the organization will need to do is to purchase a GraniteNet Esri re-implementation to take care of that